Welcome to the Professor Vector channel. I might be one of the few people giving you BeckerCAD tutorials in English because everything seems to be in German. My friend bought this for $29. He hated it. He got his money back. I got a come on ad for $17.95 from SoftMaker. Take a look at that. And I used my own money to purchase that, so it's not a paid review. If it was a review, it would be a bad review, but since I feel sorry for you guys that already bought this, that paid $99 or $139, maybe more, maybe. So we started up. This is the BeckerCAD 14 Pro. Okay, we'll go here and BeckerCAD 14 3D Pro. So we're going to look at this from a point of view of making 3D models on your printer. Alright, so when we get the startup screen, I usually just select this. I'm not sure what the difference is between these two, but that seems to work for me. First thing I do is select drawing units and put it in inches, okay? And then you can select format and scale since it makes more sense. So since my printer is about it's a mini plus, I'm going to just do 12 inches by 12 inches here. The tab doesn't go to the next field like you'd expect. It kind of goes all over the place. So we got 12 by 12. Origin is 0. Okay, and that's our freely defined size. You're going to see that as a 3D cube. The other thing I usually set is the solid display. I set the edges. And I set the hiddens for dashed lines, even though I can't really see that. I set my display edges to, I think, orange. I'm not sure. But that's really, I leave the lighting and the global settings the same. You can set some transparency. We can show you that later here. And modeling settings are pretty much all default. It's mostly about colors. So we're going to do something simple. So this is our 2D drawing, okay? And this screen here, this panel you probably don't have, but so that is the Model Explorer. So that's one of the first things I do is turn that on. And I am going to get rid of me so I'm not blocking some of the controls. And so if you don't see this, you can go to Model Explorer and turn that on. I'm not sure how much that helps you yet. The first, well, okay. So this is a 2D mode. This is like a sheet drawing with fields, you know, who the architect is and all that kind of stuff. So we want to go and look at, where is this? In Windows, you can go to 3D model, or you can activate the 3D model. Either way, it'll take you to the same 3D model. And if you look at your Windows, you'll have your 2D model and your 3D model. So I can close the 3D model, close the 2D and maximize the 3D. The other thing that you can tell just how dated this is. It's a shame because someone put a lot of work into this and they missed it by a lot. At your top view, I usually go from top view to the lower left corner, so it gives me Y, X, and Z straight up, which you can just click on that. These are like pre-canned views of this. The other thing you can do is you can hit F6, F7, F8, and F9. F6, F7, F8, and F9 to also display those. So let's put a cube on the screen. This is our arrow, and this is our selection. This is crazy. I mean, really? Is that going to help you? I don't want to badmouth this thing too much. I just want to teach you guys something here to help you learn a little bit. So here's a block. Now this I do like. You know, you got your cursor, you click, you drag, and your X and Y, and then if you read your help down here, you can press X for the center. So let's press X. X will now go, you know, from the center outwards. Okay, press X again, and we're back to corner mode. So we're going to stay in the corner. We do a left click, and then we go up or down, and we're making a cube. The cursor inches are here, and notice they're huge. The other thing you typically want to turn on is your grid. Display your grid, and I think this is snap to grid, grid on and off. It doesn't turn it on and off, but I didn't know if that was on the outside area or just your region or what. Okay, when you do a right click, you get a nice menu. And notice it has keys, right? Tells you what all the keystrokes are. The menus here have no keystrokes, like file save is F2. Oops. Escape always gets you out, which is nice. So F2 is save as. F1 is help, very handy. F3 does nothing. F4 does nothing. F5 does nothing. F6, 7, 8, and 9 show you those different orientation views. So you almost don't need this little view camera cube, which is the camera cube up here. So if I shut these off, view, this is the camera. You can use this. Not as easy as the camera cube, which I think, go to home. Home is typically this corner right here in the center of the screen. Then you go top, lower left corner, puts it in the center. I like that. That's good. And then you could do the metric views. The dimetric views here are like pre-canned views, very much the same. This I think is the same as F6. I'm hitting F6 now, nothing F. Oh, I have to add my cursor here. F7, F6, F7, F8, F6, and F6. It's a little bit different. F6 only works when your cursor is here. When your cursor has focused to another dialog, you don't see that. So that's F6. Okay, so that's the wheel. Zooming the wheel forward goes far away, not closer. Then there's no way to seem to reverse this. This is your little hand, same as W. So when you click on the hand, then you can pull this around. You can drag with the left mouse, drag. Okay, and you can hit the center mouse wheel almost all the time is the same as escape. The right mouse is always a click, and abort and escape are very convenient. So the hand is a W. You can just hit W and you can drag it around. But notice you gotta, it doesn't drag by itself. If you hit the W, the hand is in a drag mode, but only when you hold down the left click. But now look at how the dynamic rotate works with focal point. So I like that it prompts you for things, but I mean, compared to Blender, Blender is very modey. You have to have everything, you have to have your 3D cursor set up or your center of geometry set up, and before you can kind of do things. So, you know, you're either in object mode or edit mode. This isn't very modey. It kind of prompts you for the things it needs. So when you click on this, you get this center cursor. So I can click this here, and this is my origin. If you read down here, define the focal point, the center of the view and model, and then it says middle mouse key. Well, middle mouse key is always cancel. Okay, so I think they just show that in parentheses, like don't they just say cancel equals middle MB or something. But anyway, I'll click that. I'll put this on this corner. And it's not the C you're putting on, it's the crosshairs. So I click there, and now it says define point to be rotated in screen plane. So I click, and now it's rotating. Notice that this piece right there, that corner, is sticking, right? Because that's where I defined the center of the rotation. So if I don't, so I get it all screwed up, I don't want it, I just hit the middle mouse button to cancel it. So if I do want to rotate again, so this is dynamic rotate with focal point. I'll do a right click, and we can do a dynamic rotate. Doesn't say with focal point, but now it works differently. I'm not holding any mouse button down, and it's rotating. So you click here, and click, and left click, and it automatically rotates. And then you do a left click again, and it stays there. Okay? So it's a bit unusual. So the only menu, so this is a right-click menu. Now it's different than the right-click menu I had before. You have to click it a few times. So the W is in here, and they don't show the rotate command in here. But if you click there, yeah, it's a little, it does have recent commands, which are very, very nice. I like that a lot. Very easy to get to. Let's move this kind of back into center and zoom up a bit. Okay, middle mouse button to get my cursor back, cancel that hand translate. Let's add another box, or block as they call it, not a cube. Hit that. We're going to pick a corner, pick another corner back there, and go up to the top, and there. We're going to subtract these two objects now. Okay? So we'll do a boolean subtract on that. First we'll go to this, which gives you all your different objects you can make, and then you can do a union, a subtract, an intersection, or a subtraction, and keep the cutting object, keep the tool that's you're subtracting. Well, we want to subtract and not keep it. So on the bottom it says select the initial solid. Well, what does that mean? That means the one you're subtracting from. So we click on that, and now it says select the solid to be processed. Okay, I'm not sure what in window means. So then we select that, and we have subtracted the two objects. Okay, we can undo this, and there they are again. And now we will subtract and keep. So if you wanted to use this cutter more than once, there's our initial object, there's our other object, and they are subtracted. But you really can't tell unless you take this object and move it, which we can do that. So solid logical operations. So we can move that, or we can do a thought there was another one here. I'm going to go through these to show you different menus you can hit with the number keys. Okay. So remove faces, divide, transform a face. Not sure why it's offset a face. So let's try that. we will offset a face, we will pick that face, and we will move it. We can't go on the other side. And now we will see we will rotate right in the center, click, and notice we cut. So this is a non-parametric CAD program. Parametric means you would set the parameters and you would cut this out and maybe make some holes in it and do a whole bunch of operations and say, oh, that chunk I cut out with the cube, I want to change it. That was the wrong size. And I can go back there and edit this, and then it would cut dynamically and change the cutout. Notice I changed this cube. Oops, we have to click to cancel that because I wasn't dragging. I was just moving the mouse. So we'll select this and we'll do our select object. And so I changed the size of this cube, but the cutout is already done. It's baked in, so to speak, to talk Blender talk. So the operation's done. If you want to make this cutout different, you got to undo and lose your stack of changes, and then change that cutout, and then or change that cube, and then cut again. And then you have to remember the things to add back in manually. It's not like you can go in a stack of operations and edit something and have it, remember everything post change. It doesn't work like that. So, okay, so let's take this and export it. So we're going to go here, we're going to go File, Export into an STL. We'll go on our we'll export this to the, this kind of hangs and I'm not sure why save is not responding. I get that a lot in this Becker program. Okay. So we're going to save this as junk 1, 2, 3, 4, and yes. We're going to open up our slicer program here and load in the junk 1, 2, 3, 4. It appears too large. We scaled it down, and it only exported the selected version. Okay, because that was active. Now, if we select both of those and do an export STL junk 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, go back to our slicer and hit F5 to refresh it, we will get the proper geometry. So it's kind of interesting that it has color coding, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. But anyway, I think that's kind of enough to get you guys started here. We're going to look at other things later, but I want to end and show you some menus. So this is your selection menu. It comes up with all these arrows. This is your solid, fix solids. It changes all this. Notice that this top arrow always stays select and reselect. Kind of unusual, to say the least. And this is your operations, what you can do. This is 2D, all right? So if we hit escape and then we hit the number 1, doesn't matter if it's the top row Or if it's on the numeric keypad, we can get a selection menu. The same, pretty much the same as that, because we got select inversion, select object, select by polyline, select all, deselect. Okay, we hit 1, we get a lot of the same things. Not exactly the same things, but the most common ones I guess they thought were important. You hit escape, we hit number 2, we get 2D draw. And that is this, 2D draw. You hit 2D draw, you get a line, you get a polyline, you get a rectangle, you get some circles and arcs. Hit escape, and I hit 2. You get the line, the polyline, the rectangle, the circle, right? And you hit 3, then you get just these solid logical operations. Well, you don't get solid logical operations. You hit 3, you get this. I think these, I forget. I think it's, these are your solid logical operations. Let's see, 3, you got process, we got 1 is selection, 2 is draw 2D, and 3 is process 2D. So that's process 2D, okay? So that's the number 3. Be nice if they had 3s or something here to give you a clue, but you learn this stuff the hard way. You hit 4, you get transform objects, which is that. So reposition, transform, moves, move dynamically, and then you hit 4, and you get a lot of the same things, okay? You hit 5, then you get construction lines. Construction lines is this green pencil. I thought this was constant aids. It's construction lines. Well, that menu, constant aids, doesn't really match. Whoops, that one. Draw construction aids. Kind of interesting. It's just, you know, little details like that. This is your center lines. 6 is draw center lines. 7 is dimensions. 8 is information. I didn't know what these little blue things are. These are eyes. You can zoom up here. I'm trying to zoom up a little more, but yeah, these information are these little eyes, which is matches that. So this is the Windows key plus sign. We'll zoom up if you're wondering how I did that. And then this just erases objects. It's kind of like a delete key. I mean, it actually is, because if you click on this, then you hit that, it just makes it disappear, and you have to hit Control Z to redo this. That's probably enough for now. This thing will crash on you. I'm not sure what good some of these things are. You can double click these and you can make these different shadings. Here, let's make this kind of a green edge. Then you get the green edge on that object. So you can click on this one and make him a little more transparent. It might help you see things. And so this object is transparent. This one has the green edge. So it allows you to view things better. But I have not found a way to edit dimensions yet, but I'll still work on that for the next video. So I hope you like, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope you learn something.